everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I've got a really fun little kitchen tip that you may not have thought of, and it explains why I'm always using mason jars. Today we're going to talk about mastering your measuring using mason jars in the kitchen. Let's go see how this all comes together. Today I'm going to go over how you can master your measuring using mason jars in the kitchen. If you don't have measuring cups, or if the occasion arises like it does for me during holiday baking or marathon video making, when you only have a certain number of measuring cups and they're both wet and you need to measure something dry, here is the solution. You'll often see that I set up my ingredients in mason jars for you when we go over all of the components of a recipe. And there's a reason for that. It's number one, it's for me so that I know how much is in each thing or in each vessel, but it's also to help you visually see this is a pint jar, or this is a quart jar, or this is a half-gallon jar, so that you can make a mental note if I don't get the recipe up on the website quite quick enough for you guys, that you can easily see this is how much it was that she used in the recipe. If you're like me and you have more canning jars than you know what to do with, and that is no lie, I have a lot of them, especially if you're a canner, mason jars can really step in when you need to measure a lot of things for a lot of recipes at one time. They're great for meal prep also. But I just thought it would be fun to kind of go over the different sizes and styles of jars that you can get your hands on, and then I'm going to leave links down below to where you can find some of these that might be a little more difficult to find. This is a half-gallon jar. This is one of my favorite size jars. It's great for leftover chili or pasta sauce when you want to just be done with it, stick it in the fridge and have it for a meal later in the week. But it's also great when you're measuring out stock. It's great for when you're measuring out water for a dish. And also I use these size jars to keep dry goods on my jar wall, and then we label them appropriately, and we oftentimes will vacuum seal them to keep them fresh. So these are definitely jars that I use all the time in my home. A half-gallon jar is 8 cups or 64 ounces or 2 quarts. The next size jar is a quart jar, and a quart is 32 ounces or 4 cups. And you know, all these mason jars come on one side they have the metric unit, on the other side they have the imperial unit, and it will tell you how many pints or how many cups is in each one, and you can use these lines to gauge how much. So if you want 8 cups, you have to go all the way to the bottom of the neck, and that's just a helpful hint. Again, 4 cups in a 32 ounce jar or a quart jar. You'll see me use this size jar a lot when I'm measuring flour or cheese or something, if I'm making a casserole that's a little bit bulky. Not always necessarily 4 cups, but in that case I will let you know how much is in there. Pint jar has 2 cups. You know the old saying, a pint is a pound the world around. So if you have 2 cups, generally it's going to be approximately a pound, but not everything weighs the same. Like 2 cups of spinach, definitely not going to be a pound. Most things, flour, sugar, butter, liquids of any kind, are going to measure out at approximately a pound, and that would be 16 ounces. But for just eyeballing its sake, that jar is perfect for measuring 2 cups. And then another favorite of mine, which is the jelly jar. This gets you out of a pinch a lot of the time when you're talking about running out of measuring cups, so you don't have to stop midstream what you're doing. Grab a jelly jar, which is 1 cup or 8 ounces, and measure away. This is a great way to measure flour, sugar. It's a great way to measure grains like rice or pasta, and you're good to go. This is another one of my favorites. This is a half cup or a half of a jelly jar, really. This is a 4 ounce jar. It's great for, if you're a canner, it's great for making small jars of jelly that you might want to give away at the holidays, like apple butter or pear butter or something of that nature. But it's also really great if you just need an extra half cup measuring cup. This size jar, which Ball came out with a couple of years ago, mostly for like storage purposes and spices, this is also a half a cup. This is great if you're wanting to measure liquids or what have you, because it is like a narrower kind of a vessel, but even so, that is a 4 ounce cup as well. And then this, you'll see me use a lot of times in the Tirani Friday videos. This is a 2 ounce mason jar, which is also a quarter of a cup, which is a standard size of a shot glass, which is what this is. This is a shot glass mason jar, and I got these on Amazon, and I love them for measuring out quick things. And to measure a quarter of a cup when I need to. So that is how you use mason jars to master your measuring in the kitchen. I hope this was helpful. I hope you learned something, and if you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're new to my kitchen, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have new friends join me. Please be sure and hit the subscribe button, and if you are a tried and true member of the Noreen's Kitchen family, please go down and hit the bell notification button, because we don't want any of you to miss out on all the real food for real people, real easy recipes, and all these fun little kitchen tips and tricks that we present all the time right here on our YouTube channel and straight from our kitchen. I hope you keep this in mind when holiday baking rolls around very, very soon, and I hope that you use it, and I hope that you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.